Singer and songwriter Chuck Negrin died February 2, 2026, at his home in Los Angeles at the age of 83, of complications from heart failure and COPD. He was a co-founder of Three Dog Night, the soulful genre-bending rock group that ruled the airwaves in the 1960s and 70s with hits like Black and White and Mama Told Me Not to Come. He provided lead vocals on Joy to the World, an old-fashioned love song, and other beloved songs. Negrin is being remembered as one of the great voices of his era, a passionate and soulful performer who poured everything he had into every song he sang. He is survived by his wife Ami Albia Negrin, 4 children, Shanti, Charles III, Charlotte Rose and Annabelle, and 9 grandchildren. Gospel singer and songwriter Ron Kenoly died February 3, 2026, at the age of 81. He was beloved for his gospel music, especially his signature song Ancient of Days, as well as Anointing Fall on Me and Morning into Dancing. He served as a worship leader at Jubilee Christian Center in San Jose, California, and authored several books on praise and worship. He was a United States Air Force veteran who served in the 1960s. Kenoly is being remembered as one of the most anointed worship voices of his generation, a man whose music opened hearts and drew people closer to their faith. He is survived by his wife Diana and 3 sons, Samuel, Ronald Jr., and Tony. Snooker player and commentator John Virgo died February 4, 2026, in Spain at the age of 79. He was one of England's most legendary snooker players, a UK champion, and a member of the World Snooker Hall of Fame. He was also widely loved as the co-host of the BBC TV game show Big Break and as a snooker commentator for the BBC for decades, right up until just weeks before his death. Virgo is being remembered as one of the warmest and most entertaining personalities the sport of snooker has ever produced. He is survived by his wife Rosie and 2 children, son Gary and daughter Brooke Leah, and grandchildren. Singer and photographer Lamont McLemore died February 3, 2026, at his home in Las Vegas at the age of 90 of natural causes. He was a founding member of the Fifth Dimension, singing bass vocals on their 1960s hits including Up, Up and Away, Aquarius/Let the Sunshine In, and Wedding Bell Blues. He also spent decades as a photographer for Jet and Ebony magazines. He was a United States Navy veteran who served in the 1950s. McLemore is being remembered as a man of extraordinary gifts, a founding voice of one of America's most beloved vocal groups and a gifted visual artist who documented Black culture for generations. He is survived by his wife of 30 years, Mieko McLemore, 2 children, daughter Sierra and son Darren, and 3 grandchildren. Baseball player Mickey Lolich died February 4, 2026, at a care facility in Sterling Heights, Michigan at the age of 85. He was a left-handed pitcher for the Detroit Tigers in the 1960s and 70s, a 3-time All-Star who set a record for career strikeouts by a left-handed pitcher. He is best remembered as the hero of the 1968 World Series, when he pitched 3 complete games to lead the Tigers to victory over the St. Louis Cardinals and was named World Series MVP. Lolich is being remembered as one of the great big-game pitchers in baseball history, a man who rose to every occasion and delivered when it mattered most. He is survived by his wife of 61 years, Joyce Fleenor Lolich, 3 daughters, Kimberly and Stacy Michelle and Jody Joanne, and 3 grandsons. Hot rodder Ed Iskandarian died February 4, 2026, in Los Angeles at the age of 104. He was a hot rodding pioneer who began racing on California's dry lake beds in the 1930s and built his passion for speed into a storied career designing and fabricating aftermarket camshafts for hot rods, earning him the nickname the Camfather. He was a member of the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. He was a United States Army Air Forces veteran of World War II. Iskandarian is being remembered as a giant of American motorsports culture, a man who lived his dream for over a century and changed the sport forever. He is survived by 3 children, Richard, Timothy, and Amy, and 8 grandchildren. Football player Sonny Jurgensen died February 6, 2026, in Naples, Florida at the age of 91. He was a Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles and Washington Redskins who is considered one of the NFL's all-time greatest passers. He was also celebrated for his long career in broadcasting, covering Washington football on radio and television for decades after his playing days ended. Jurgensen is being remembered as a quarterback of breathtaking elegance and power, one of the purest passers the game has ever seen. He is survived by his wife Margot Hurt Jurgensen, 4 sons, Greg, Scott, Eric, and Gunnar, and 6 grandchildren. Singer and songwriter Brad Arnold died February 7, 2026, after fighting kidney cancer at the age of 47. He was the lead singer of the rock band 3 Doors Down. He was just 15 years old when he wrote their breakthrough hit single Kryptonite, and he also co-wrote beloved songs like Here Without You and When I'm Gone. He was known for openly sharing his Christian faith with his fans at concerts and in interviews. Arnold is being remembered as a songwriter of remarkable instinct and a frontman of genuine soul who poured his faith, his struggles, and his heart into every lyric he ever wrote. He is survived by his wife Jennifer Sanderford Arnold. Musician Greg Brown died February 7, 2026. He was the founding guitarist for the indie rock band Cake, playing on their first 2 albums including the double platinum Fashion Nugget. He wrote the band's 1996 hit The Distance and played on beloved tracks like Jolene and Rock and Roll Lifestyle. Brown is being remembered as the creative spark who helped ignite one of the most original sounds in 1990s rock. A guitarist whose songwriting left an indelible mark on the band he helped build. He is survived by his wife Courtney and 3 children, including daughter Adri Brown. Musician Fred Smith died February 5, 2026, at the age of 77. He was the bassist for the influential punk band Television, playing on albums including their iconic 1977 debut Marquee Moon, one of the most critically acclaimed records in rock history. Smith is being remembered as a melodic master of the bass guitar who anchored Television's stripped-down, innovative sound and helped define the sound of New York's punk and new wave scene. He is survived by his wife Paula Saragino. Baseball player Terrence Gore died February 6, 2026, of complications from surgery at the age of 34. He played for the Kansas City Royals, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Atlanta Braves, winning a World Series with each team, and was celebrated for his remarkable speed as a pinch runner who excelled at stealing bases and scoring runs. Gore is being remembered as one of the most electrifying base runners of his generation, a player whose presence on the base paths could change the outcome of any game. He is survived by his wife Brittany and 3 children, sons Zane and Camden and daughter Skylin. Football player Barry Wilburn died February 6, 2026, in Memphis, Tennessee at the age of 62 in a house fire. He was a cornerback for the Washington Redskins in the 1980s whose 2 interceptions helped the team win Super Bowl 22 against the Denver Broncos. He was also celebrated for his years in the Canadian Football League, winning a Grey Cup with the BC Lions, making him one of only a handful of players to win both a Super Bowl and a Grey Cup. Wilburn is being remembered as a fierce and courageous defender who made history on both sides of the border. He left behind 2 daughters, Jordan and Dominique. Football coach Ray Hanley died February 5, 2026, at the age of 81. He served as head coach for the New York Giants for 2 seasons in the early 1990s, following the team's Super Bowl 25 victory, and was also remembered for his more successful years as the Giants' offensive backfield coach from 1984 to 1990. A period during which the team scaled the heights of the NFL. Hanley is being remembered as a dedicated football man who gave his career to one of the sport's most storied franchises. Information about his surviving family has not been made public. Football player Tracy Scroggins died February 9, 2026, at the age of 56. He spent all 10 of his NFL seasons with the Detroit Lions, finishing his career with 60.5 sacks, among the highest totals in franchise history, and was remembered by teammates and coaches as a great player and an even better person. Scroggins is being remembered as a cornerstone of the Detroit Lions defense and a man of character who left a lasting impression on everyone who knew him. Information about his surviving family has not been made public. Performer and professor Philippe Gallier died February 9, 2026, of complications from a lung infection at the age of 82. He was a legendary French clown who became world-renowned for teaching generations of performers how to be funny at the school he founded. His students included Sacha Baron Cohen, Emma Thompson, and Helena Bonham Carter, among many others. Gallier is being remembered as one of the great teachers of theatrical comedy, a master who unlocked the power of play and laughter in performers around the world. He is survived by his wife Michiko Miyazaki Gallier, 2 sons, Balthazar and Samuel, and 2 grandchildren, Gladness and Solomon. Musician Andrew Rankin died February 10, 2026, at the age of 72. He was the longtime drummer for the Pogues, playing on classic albums like Rum, Sodomy and Amp, The Lash and If I Should Fall from Grace with God. He was affectionately nicknamed the Clobberer for his role as the heartbeat of the band's ferocious, joyful music. Rankin is being remembered as the propulsive force at the center of one of the most beloved bands in Irish punk history, a drummer who drove the music forward with precision and joy. Information about his surviving family has not been made public. Actor James Van Der Beek died February 11, 2026, after fighting colorectal cancer at the age of 48. He became an icon of millennial television when he starred as Dawson Leary in Dawson's Creek, one of the most popular teen dramas of the 1990s and 2000s. He was also celebrated for his performances in Varsity Blues and Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. Vander Beek is being remembered as a performer who defined a generation, a man who faced his final chapter with the same grace and openness he brought to everything in his life. He is survived by his wife Kimberly Brooke and 6 children: Olivia, Joshua, Annabelle, Amelia, Gwendolyn, and Jeremiah. Actor Bud Cort died February 11, 2026, in Connecticut at the age of 77, of complications from pneumonia after a long illness. His iconoclastic career was defined by his starring performance as Harold in the cult classic black comedy Harold and Maude, a role that made him unforgettable to generations of devoted fans. He was also celebrated for his work in MASH, Brewster McCloud, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and Dogma. Cort is being remembered as one of cinema's most original and daring presences, a performer who found the humanity in the unconventional and made audiences fall in love with the misfits of the world. He never married and had no children. Musician and record producer Jerry Kennedy died February 11, 2026, in Nashville, Tennessee at the age of 85. He was one of Nashville's great session musicians, playing guitar and dobro on classic songs including Harper Valley PDA, Oh, Pretty Woman, and Stand By Your Man. He was also celebrated as a record producer, particularly for his long and distinguished work with Jerry Lee Lewis. Kennedy is being remembered as one of the most important figures in the golden era of Nashville recording, a musician and producer whose fingerprints are on some of the most beloved songs in country music history. He is survived by his wife D.A. Kennedy and 3 sons, Gordon, Brian, and Shelby, and grandchildren. Baseball player Elroy Face died February 12, 2026, in North Versailles, Pennsylvania at the age of 97. He was a relief pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 1950s and 60s, including pitching in the 1960 World Series victory against the New York Yankees. He was known as the Baron of the Bullpen, was named a 6-time All-Star, and was a member of the Pirates Hall of Fame. He was a United States Army veteran who served in the 1940s. Face is being remembered as one of the greatest relief pitchers in baseball history and a beloved symbol of the Pittsburgh Pirates' storied heritage. He is survived by 3 children, Marlon Michelle Batacci, Elroy Jean Jr., and Valerie Kristen Cortazzo, and 7 grandchildren, Julia, Michael, Celeste, Jolene, Jacqueline, Jenna, and Dakota. Actor Robert Duvall died February 15, 2026, at his home in Middleburg, Virginia at the age of 95. He was a giant of the silver screen with unforgettable performances in The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Lonesome Dove, and To Kill a Mockingbird. He won the Academy Award for Best Actor for Tender Mercies, in which he portrayed a former country music star turning his life around after hitting rock bottom. He was a United States Army veteran who served in the 1950s. Duvall is being remembered as one of the greatest actors in the history of American cinema, a man who brought unmatched truth, power, and humility to every role he ever played. He is survived by his wife of more than 20 years, Luciana Pedraza. Reverend Jesse Jackson died February 17, 2026, at the age of 84. He was one of the giants of the civil rights movement, working alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the 1960s and continuing the fight for racial equality and social justice as the founder of Operation Push and the Rainbow Coalition. He ran 2 historic presidential campaigns and was honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Jackson is being remembered as a towering voice for justice and equality, a man who spent his entire life fighting for the dignity of those who had been pushed to the margins of American life. He is survived by his wife of 63 years, Jacqueline Lavinia Brown Jackson, whom he married on December 31, 1962, and 6 children, Santita, Jesse Jr., Jonathan Luther, Yusef Du Bois, Jacqueline Jr., and Ashley Laverne. Actor Shelley Desai died February 10, 2026, in Los Angeles at the age of 90. He was best known for his roles in Men of a Certain Age and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and appeared in dozens of television shows over a career spanning several decades. He was also celebrated for his performances in films including Thelma and Amp, Louise, Escape from L.A., and Here Comes the Boom. Desai is being remembered as a gifted character actor of warmth and precision whose long career touched virtually every corner of film and television. He is survived by his wife Phyllis and 2 stepdaughters, April and Dawn, and 3 step-grandchildren. Musician Tim Very died in February 2026, at the age of 42. He was the drummer for Manchester Orchestra, the Atlanta-based indie rock band known for beloved songs like I Can Feel a Hot One and I've Got Friends. serving as the band's longest-tenured drummer and, in the words of his bandmates, the heartbeat of the band. Very is being remembered with profound love and grief by his bandmates and by the fans who felt his drumming in their bones. His bandmates described him as the most joyful dad, and his memory lives on in the music he helped create. Football player Trey Johnson died February 15, 2026, at the age of 54. He was an offensive lineman with the Washington Redskins and Cleveland Browns and was named to the Pro Bowl in 1999, one of the most dominant offensive linemen of his era. He later dedicated himself to a second career as a history teacher and coach in Maryland. Johnson is being remembered as a man who gave everything on the field and gave just as much off it, a teacher and coach who shaped young lives long after his playing days were over. He is survived by his wife Irene and 4 children, Chloe, EJ, Easy, and Eden. Songwriter Billy Steinberg died February 16, 2026, at his home in Brentwood, California at the age of 75 of cancer. He wrote some of the most popular songs of the 1980s, including Like a Virgin, So Emotional, and Eternal Flame, and was especially remembered for his deeply personal lyrics to True Colors, made famous by Cyndi Lauper, a song he wrote about his own mother. Steinberg is being remembered as one of the great pop lyricists of the 20th century, a man who had the rare gift of writing words that felt like they had always existed. He is survived by his wife Trina McKillen Steinberg and 2 sons, Ezra and Max, as well as 2 stepchildren, Raul and Carolina. Basketball coach and player Doug Moe died February 17, 2026, in San Antonio at the age of 87 after fighting cancer. He was a charismatic and influential head coach for the Denver Nuggets, San Antonio Spurs, and Philadelphia 76ers, and was named NBA Coach of the Year in 1988 when he guided Denver to a Midwest Division title with a franchise record 54 wins. He was also a 3-time All-Star as a player in the ABA. He was a United States Army veteran who served in the 1960s. Moe is being remembered as one of the most colorful, beloved, and brilliant coaches the game of basketball has ever produced, a man who made every arena a little more fun and every player a little better. He is survived by his wife Jane and their son David. Businessman and engineer Hideki Sato died February 13, 2026, at the age of 75. Nicknamed the father of Sega hardware, he developed almost all of Sega's gaming consoles, including the SC-3000, Mega Drive, and Sega Saturn, and later served as president of the company. His work helped shape the golden era of video gaming and the lives of millions of fans around the world. Sato is being remembered as a visionary engineer whose dedication and genius placed him at the very heart of one of the most beloved chapters in gaming history. Information about his surviving family has not been made public. Filmmaker Frederick Wiseman died February 16, 2026, at his home in Cambridge, Massachusetts at the age of 96. He pioneered a new style of documentary filmmaking in which he simply presented footage without narration, allowing institutions like schools, hospitals, and the justice system to tell their own stories, producing a body of work unlike anything else in the history of cinema. He was a United States Army veteran who served in the 1950s. He named his film production company Zipporah Films in honor of his beloved wife. Wiseman is being remembered as one of the great documentarians in the history of film, a patient, brilliant observer of American life who left behind an incomparable archive of the human condition. He is survived by 2 sons, David and Eric, and 3 grandchildren, Benjamin, Charlie, and Tess. Animator Jane Bear died February 16, 2026, at her home in Van Nuys, California at the age of 91 in her sleep. She was one of the first women to work in animation, beginning her career at Disney, where she worked on the classic film Sleeping Beauty. She later co-founded Bear Animation and contributed her talents to beloved animated films including Who Framed Roger Rabbit and The Rescuers. Bear is being remembered as a trailblazer who pushed open doors for women in animation and left behind a legacy of work that has delighted audiences of all ages for decades. She is survived by her son Michael. Actor Tom Noonan died February 14, 2026, at the age of 74. He was a character actor of extraordinary range whose career included memorable roles in Manhunter, in which his starring performance as serial killer Francis Dollarhide became the stuff of cult legend, as well as RoboCop 2, Heat, Last Action Hero, and Synecdoche, New York. Noonan is being remembered as one of the most quietly formidable presences in American film, an actor who could make audiences feel something they had never felt before just by walking into a room. He is survived by 2 children, daughter Wanda and a son. Actor Eric Dane died February 19, 2026, of complications from ALS at the age of 53. He starred in Grey's Anatomy as Dr. Mark Sloan and had many memorable roles in television and film, including Euphoria, Charmed, X-Men, The Last Stand, and Marley and Me. In his final years, he became a prominent and powerful advocate for ALS awareness and research, fundraising and increasing the visibility of the disease, and was honored by the ALS Network as Advocate of the Year in 2025. Dane is being remembered as a performer of undeniable presence and a man of enormous courage. Someone who used his platform to fight for others even while fighting for his own life. He is survived by his wife Rebecca Gayhart and two daughters, Billy and Georgia. Football player Mike Wagner died February 18, 2026, at the age of 76. He was a safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers and a cornerstone of their formidable steel curtain defense of the 1970s, one of the most dominant defenses in NFL history. He won 4 Super Bowls with the Steelers and was selected to the Pro Bowl twice. Wagner is being remembered as a warrior of the gridiron and a proud member of one of the greatest dynasties in football history. Information about his surviving family has not been made public. Artist Isaiah Zagar died February 19, 2026, at his home in Philadelphia at the age of 86, of complications from Parkinson's disease and heart failure. He was best known for his mosaic art in Philadelphia, especially his Magic Gardens, a sprawling installation that cobbles together colorful glass, ceramics, discarded objects, and lines of verse into one of the most extraordinary public artworks in America. Zagar is being remembered as a man who transformed the streets of a city into a canvas of joy, memory, and meaning, an artist who gave Philadelphia a piece of his soul. He is survived by his wife of more than 60 years, Julia Zagar, and 2 sons, Jeremiah and Ezekiel. Baseball player Bill Mazeroski died February 20, 2026, in Lansdale, Pennsylvania at the age of 89. Affectionately known as Maz, he was a 10-time All-Star with the Pittsburgh Pirates whose walk-off home run in the 1960 World Series secured a victory against the New York Yankees and became one of the most celebrated moments in baseball history. He was also one of the finest defensive second basemen to ever play the game, winning 8 Gold Glove awards. Mazeroski is being remembered as a Pittsburgh legend whose swing heard round the world turned an entire city into a celebration, and whose glove made him one of the best to ever play his position. He is survived by 2 sons, Darren and David, and 4 grandchildren, Billy, Sarah, Tommy, and Jack. Musician Willie Colon died February 21, 2026, in Bronxville, New York at the age of 75, after being hospitalized for breathing problems. Often promoted as El Malo, he is celebrated for his landmark 1978 collaboration with Ruben Blades, Siembra, one of the top-selling salsa albums of all time. He was a Grammy-winning innovator of salsa and a member of the Latin Songwriters Hall of Fame. Colon is being remembered as one of the defining voices and architects of salsa music. A bold, brilliant musician who made New York streets sing in a new language. He is survived by his wife Julia Colon Craig and 4 sons. Actor Robert Carradine died February 23, 2026, at the age of 71, after fighting bipolar disorder. He was beloved for starring in all 4 of the Revenge of the Nerds films, playing Louis Skolnick, a leader of a group of misfits who form a fraternity, in one of the most enduring comedies of the 1980s. He was also remembered with great warmth for playing Lizzie's dad in the Disney Channel series Lizzie McGuire and the Lizzie McGuire Movie. Carradine is being remembered as a performer who brought dignity, humor, and heart to every role, and who made generations of underdogs feel seen. He is survived by 3 children, Ever, Marika, and Ian Alexander, and 3 grandchildren, Chaplin, Sam, and Jack. Football player Rondale Moore died February 21, 2026, in New Albany, Indiana at the age of 25. He was a wide receiver who played for the Arizona Cardinals, Atlanta Falcons, and Minnesota Vikings, and was celebrated during his college career at Purdue, where he was named Big Ten Freshman of the Year in 2018, as one of the most electrifying players in the country. Moore is being remembered as a young man of extraordinary talent and promise whose loss leaves a profound and lasting emptiness in the hearts of all who knew and loved him. Basketball player Kara Braxton died February 21, 2026, in Cobb County, Georgia at the age of 43 in a car accident. She was a WNBA star of the 2000s and 2010s who won 2 championships with the Detroit Shock and was also celebrated for her seasons with the New York Liberty and Phoenix Mercury. Braxton is being remembered as a champion and a fighter, on the court and in life, whose strength, skill, and competitive spirit made her one of the most formidable players of her era. She is survived by her husband Jarvis Jackson and 2 sons, Jelani and Dream. Football player Roniel Whitaker died February 22, 2026, at the age of 46. He was a cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as well as playing in NFL Europe and the Canadian Football League. He was a standout during his college career at Virginia Tech, where he was named an All-American and ranked among the top cornerbacks in the country. Whitaker is being remembered as a gifted and tenacious corner who competed at the highest level across multiple leagues. Information about his surviving family has not been made public. Actress Lauren Chapin died February 24, 2026, at the age of 80 after fighting cancer. She was a child star of the 1950s, best known for playing Kathy "Kitten" Anderson, the youngest daughter on the beloved family sitcom Father Knows Best. After overcoming a turbulent young adulthood, she went on to build a meaningful new life as a talent manager and ordained minister. Chapin is being remembered as a woman who found her way through darkness and emerged with grace, a testimony to resilience, faith, and the redemptive power of starting over. She left behind 2 children, son Matthew and daughter Summer Healy Chapin. Composer Elaine Radigue died February 23, 2026, in Paris at the age of 94, of complications from a fall. She became known for her electronic compositions, minimalist drones that sent waves of sound washing over the listener in a way that felt both ancient and entirely new. She is regarded as a pioneer who helped define the possibilities of electronic music and expanded the very boundaries of what composition could mean. Radigue is being remembered as one of the great quiet revolutionaries of 20th century music, a composer whose work asked the listener to slow down, breathe, and listen to the world differently. She is survived by 3 children. Musician and performer Monty Rock III died February 23, 2026, at his home in Las Vegas at the age of 86, of complications from COPD. Performing with discotheques and his sexolettes, he scored disco hits in the 1970s with Get Dancin' and I Wanna Dance With You, Do That Dance, and became one of the most flamboyant and entertaining personalities of the era. He was a frequent talk show guest and appeared memorably as the DJ in Saturday Night Fever. Rock is being remembered as one of the most singular and joyful entertainers of the disco age, a performer who refused to be ordinary and made sure no one who saw him ever forgot it. Entrepreneur and record producer Oliver Power died February 23, 2026, at the age of 52. He was closely associated with the hip-hop collective Wu-Tang Clan, funding their debut and producing platinum albums including Wu-Tang Forever and The W. He also launched the groundbreaking Wu Wear clothing line and appeared in films including Belly and Black and White. Grant is being remembered as a visionary who helped build one of the most important empires in hip-hop history, a man whose belief in the music, the brand, and the culture changed the landscape of an entire genre. He is survived by his children. Singer and songwriter Neil Sedaka died February 27, 2026, in Los Angeles at the age of 86. He topped the charts many times in the 1960s and 70s with #1 hits including Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, Calendar Girl, and Laughing in the Rain. He also wrote songs that became hits for other artists, including Love Will Keep Us Together and Solitaire. Sedaka is being remembered as one of the great pop songwriters of the 20th century, a craftsman of melody and lyric whose music defined a generation. He is survived by his wife of 64 years, Liba Strasberg Sedaka, 2 children, Dara and Mark, and 3 grandchildren. Actress Sandra Lee died February 23, 2026, at her home in New York City at the age of 97. She was a Broadway star who originated the role of Tiger Lily in the original 1954 production of Peter Pan and created the role of Minnie Fay in the original 1964 Broadway production of Hello, Dolly. Lee is being remembered as a trailblazing stage actress whose originating performances became part of Broadway history. Information about her surviving family has not been made public. Civil rights activist Joanne Bland died February 19, 2026, at her home in Selma, Alabama at the age of 72 of lung cancer. She was just 11 years old when she participated in the famous march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma alongside leaders like future Congressman John Lewis. She dedicated her life to telling the story of that landmark march and co-founded the National Voting Rights Museum and Institute. Bland is being remembered as a living witness to history who gave her entire life to making sure the world never forgot what happened on that bridge. She is survived by her sister Linda Blackman Lowry. Information about her children has not been publicly itemized. Author Dan Simmons died February 21, 2026, in Longmont, Colorado at the age of 77. His many popular novels included the Hugo Award-winning Hyperion and the best-selling thriller The Terror, and he was celebrated for blending horror, science fiction, and fantasy into stories unlike anything else in genre literature. Simmons is being remembered as one of the most inventive and fearless storytellers of his generation. He is survived by his wife Karen, one daughter, Jane, and two grandchildren, Milo Glenn and Lucia Glenn. As we come to the end of today's remembrance, we take a moment to honor the lives, careers, and memories of those we lost in February 2026. Every name mentioned carried a story, touched hearts, and left behind moments that will never be forgotten. To the families, friends, and fans mourning these losses, our thoughts and deepest condolences are with you during this difficult time. May their memories continue to live on through the people they inspired and the legacies they leave behind. If you would like to stay informed and continue honoring the legends, artists, athletes, musicians, and public figures who shaped generations, subscribe to the channel and be a part of this community built on remembrance, respect, and keeping their stories alive. Feel free to leave a message of remembrance for those we honored today. Thank you for joining the Golden Tribute.